Hello, I'm Song Eunha. Please listen to my heartbreaking story. I'm 68 years old, a retired pharmacist living alone in Jeju. I lost my husband early and raised my son Minwoo while running a pharmacy for over 30 years. Thanks to that, I managed to save about 3 billion won in assets, a small house in downtown Jeju, savings, deposits, and several insurance policies. Maybe that was my downfall. One day, my son Minwoo came down to Jeju with his wife Sujin. "Mom, you seem to be forgetting things lately. There's a good hospital in Seoul. You should go get checked out." Minwoo's voice was sweet, but Sujin's eyes were cold. Actually, I wasn't forgetting things much at all. Thanks to my lifelong habit as a pharmacist of being careful, I still check my medication schedule every morning and do all my housework myself. But when my son says he's worried, how could I refuse? Double tap to continue. Before you continue, please hit subscribe and like, it really helps. Even on the flight to Seoul, Minwoo kept saying, "Mom, people with early dementia don't know they have it. We need to watch from the side." Sujin just nodded along. The next day after arriving in Seoul, the place they took me wasn't a big general hospital. It was the second floor of an unfamiliar building with a small sign that said Neurocognitive Clinic, and right next to it was a notary office. It was strange. Why would there be a notary office next to a medical clinic? While sitting in the waiting room, Minwoo pulled out a stack of papers. "Mom, before the test, please look at this. Just in case you're diagnosed with dementia, so I can help manage your assets, I need to get your consent in advance." My hands trembled. The title of the document was Guardianship Consent Form. We hadn't even done the test yet, and he already wanted to establish guardianship? I slowly flipped through the papers, buying time. Oh my, I left my glasses at home. I can't see the letters clearly. Sujin said sharply, "Mother, if we don't finish this today, we'll miss our insurance deadline. Next week we'll have to pay cancellation fees." Insurance deadline? What does that have to do with my health checkup? At that moment, I was certain this wasn't a checkup. It was a trap. I quietly took my phone out of my handbag's inner pocket and pressed the record button. After 30 years as a pharmacist, I'd always had the habit of keeping evidence. Customer medication consultations, prescription confirmations with doctors. I recorded everything. "Minwoo, what exactly am I forgetting?" I asked. Minwoo stammered, caught off guard. "Well, last time we talked on the phone, you said the same thing twice." "What did I say?" "About the Jeju weather." I almost laughed. "The Jeju weather changes every day. How is saying the same thing twice evidence of dementia?" Sujin interjected. "Mother, just get the examination first. You can look at the documents later and take your time. Right now, you just need to sign." "Just sign? Without even reading the contents?" I closed the documents and said, "Sorry, but I want to ask my lawyer friend about this first. I have a colleague from pharmacy school who's a lawyer." Minwoo's face hardened. "Mom, why are you doing this? This is just between family. Why involve a lawyer?" "Because we're family, I need to be more careful. I don't want this to cause problems for you later." Sujin stood up abruptly. "Mother, are you saying you don't trust us?" I answered quietly, "It's not about trust, it's about verification. When I sold even one pill, I checked the ingredients first. Documents need even more checking." The examination room door opened and a doctor called for me. But I didn't stand up. Instead, I took out my phone and sent a message to Jiho, my pharmacy school junior, who's now a lawyer. "Jiho, I'm in Seoul and something strange is happening. They're asking me to sign a guardianship consent form, but I haven't even had a dementia test. Please help." A few minutes later, Jiho called me back. "Senior, don't sign anything there. I'm coming right now." I looked at Minwoo and Sujin and said, "Sorry, but I'm not getting tested today. I'm going home." Minwoo grabbed my arm. "Mom, why are you acting like this? We're doing this for you." I pulled my arm away from Minwoo's grip. "For me? Or for your debt?" Sujin's face turned white. I knew that Minwoo had accumulated over 200 million won in debt from his failed startup, and I knew how severe the collection calls were. I picked up my bag and stood up, but Minwoo and Sujin blocked the door. "Mom, if we don't finish this today, we'll go bankrupt. Please." That's when I realized this was just the beginning. There was a bigger plan at work. If they can trap you in the name of family, how far can they go? In the clinic waiting room, Minwoo, Sujin, and I were staring each other down. I had to hold out for 30 minutes until Jiho arrived. Sujin pushed the documents toward me again. "Mother, this is just a formality. If you get sick later, we'll pay your hospital bills and help manage your bank accounts. That's all." "Then why do we need guardianship?" "It's legally required. Banks these days won't let people touch elderly people's accounts without it." I looked through the papers again. Besides the guardianship consent form, there were other documents mixed in. Property power of attorney, real estate disposal, consent, and even overseas travel consent. What's the overseas travel consent for? Minwoo stammered. Oh, that? For later, we want to take you on a trip. Like a Japanese cruise or something. A cruise trip? I hate being on boats. Minwoo knows that, so why is he talking about cruises? I checked that my phone was still recording. Then I deliberately asked loudly, Minwoo, be honest. You're after my assets, aren't you? Minwoo bristled. Mom, how can you say that? I'm your son. That's exactly why it's scary. There are so many news stories about children stealing their parents' assets. Soojin cut in. Mother, when have we ever touched your assets? We're just preparing for the future. The future? I'm still perfectly fine. What future? Mother, you never know what can happen. What if you suddenly collapse? Then it'll be too late. I laughed coldly. So you want me to hand over my assets now? Before I'm even dead? Minwoo shouted. Mom, we're really desperate right now. If we don't get money by the end of this month, we'll lose our house. Finally, the truth came out. I clutched my phone tightly, still recording. So you were planning to sell my house? Soojin said. We're not selling it. We just want to get a mortgage loan. Your assets will all go to Minwoo eventually anyway. Why would they be Minwoo's when I'm still alive? Mother, that's not what I meant. Forget it. I'm not signing. Minwoo grabbed my wrist. Mom, please. What will we do if we go bankrupt? That's for you to figure out. Don't involve me. Then the examination room door opened and the doctor came out. Guardian, the patient is refusing the examination. This is difficult. Soojin walked over to the doctor and whispered something. The doctor nodded and went back inside. I felt uneasy. What were they plotting? 5 minutes later, a nurse came out. Ma'am, we'll just check your blood pressure. You don't have to do the examination. Just come inside. Blood pressure check? That should be fine. I stood up and walked into the examination room. But inside the room, there was someone else besides the doctor. A notary public. Ma'am, please sit. We'll just do a quick confirmation and you can go. I stepped back. What are you doing here? Notarizing a guardianship consent. The guardians made an appointment in advance. I didn't consent to this. The notary spread out documents. It says here that we already received prior consent. I snatched the papers and looked at them. There was a prior consent form in my name, but that signature wasn't mine. This is forged. Minwoo said from behind me. Mom, you signed it last month. You just forgot. I never signed anything like this. Soojin grabbed my shoulder. Mother, calm down. If you get excited, your blood pressure will rise. I shook off Soojin's hand. Don't touch me. Then my phone rang. It was Jiho. Senior, I'm in front of the building. I'm coming up now. I breathed a sigh of relief. Yes, Jiho. It's the neurocognitive clinic on the second floor. Minwoo said urgently. Mom, who did you call? My lawyer Junior. He'll be here soon. Soojin's face hardened. Mother, why are you going this far? Because you're trying to deceive me. A minute later, Jiho burst through the examination room door. What's going on here? The notary answered. We're in the middle of notarizing a guardianship consent. Jiho snatched the documents. Proceeding with notarization without the person's consent is invalid. Stop immediately. Minwoo protested. Lawyer, this is a family matter. Why are you interfering? Ms. Song Eunha requested my help. And I have the phone recording here too. Jiho took my phone and played the recording file. Soojin's voice filled the room. If we don't finish today, we'll miss the insurance deadline. The notary's face stiffened. Guardians, isn't this fraud? Soojin made excuses. No, it's a misunderstanding. Jiho said, should I call the police? Or do we settle this quietly? Minwoo and Soojin couldn't say anything. I left the clinic with Jiho, but I knew this wasn't over. Minwoo and Soojin wouldn't give up. That night, I sat in a cafe with Jiho. Senior, this is serious. Preparing forged documents means it's premeditated. You need to report this to the police. I shook my head. Not yet. I need more evidence. What evidence? Clear evidence of what they're really trying to do. Jiho sighed. Senior, this is dangerous. They might try to lock you up somewhere. I smiled bitterly. Maybe. But I'm a pharmacist. I survived 30 years dealing with all kinds of people. I can handle this much. But I didn't know. I didn't know how meticulous Minwoo and Soojin's plan really was. When you're trapped, who will come find you? The next morning, Minwoo and Soojin came back. But this time their attitude was different. Mom, we were too pushy yesterday. I'm sorry. Minwoo's voice was incredibly subdued. Soojin bowed her head too. Mother, we were wrong. It won't happen again. I couldn't believe it. People who were so aggressive yesterday couldn't change like this in just one day. All right, I understand. You must have been struggling too. Minwoo said carefully. Mom, you still should get a health checkup though. This time we'll take you to a proper general hospital. I was suspicious, but had no grounds to refuse. Okay, fine. That afternoon, Minwoo and Sujin put me in the car. But the route was strange. We weren't heading to downtown Seoul, but toward the outskirts of the metropolitan area. Minwoo, where's this? Is the hospital really in such a remote place? Mom, good hospitals these days are all in the outskirts. It's quiet and the air is good. After driving for an hour, we arrived at a 3-story building with a sign that said Ansem Care Facility. A care facility? Not a hospital? Minwoo, this is a care facility. Sujin smiled and said, Mother, care facilities these days all have health examination centers attached. You can get checked and rest for a few days. Isn't that nice? I felt uneasy, but I'd already gotten out of the car, and Minwoo and Sujin were holding my arms on both sides. As we entered the lobby, a nurse greeted us. Ma'am, welcome. Your room is ready. Wait, I came for a checkup. Why are you talking about a room? The nurse smiled. You need to stay overnight before the examination to check your condition. You'll be tested early tomorrow morning. I sensed something was wrong, but Minwoo and Sujin pushed forward. Mom, just rest here for one day. We'll pick you up right after the checkup tomorrow. My room was at the end of the second-floor hallway. There was a window, but it had bars on it. It's a care facility, so it must be for safety. I tried to think, but my unease only grew. Minwoo, I just want to go home. Mom, just until tomorrow, please. Minwoo and Sujin left me in the room. I heard the door close, and soon heard the sound of a lock clicking. I rushed to try to open the door, but it wouldn't open. It was locked from the outside. Hello? Please open the door. But no one came. I searched through my handbag. I tried to get my phone, but it wasn't there. I remembered Minwoo asking to borrow it for a moment in the car. He never gave it back. I slumped to the floor. I was trapped. My son had locked me up, but I didn't give up. Working as a pharmacist, I'd always had the habit of preparing backup plans. I took off my slippers and lifted the insole. Inside was hidden a small backup phone. An old flip phone, but it could make calls and send texts. With trembling hands, I sent a text to Jiho. Jiho, I'm trapped. Ansem Care Facility in the outskirts of the metropolitan area. I'll send my location. But this old phone couldn't send location data. I went to the window and looked outside. Was there any sign around here? I could see a small sign in front of the building. Ansem Care Facility, Gwangjikmyeon, Yeongju-si, Gyeonggi-do. I quickly sent another text to Jiho. Ansem Care Facility, Gwangjikmyeon, Yeongju-si, Gyeonggi-do. Second floor. End room. Doors locked. Please help. A few minutes later, I got a reply from Jiho. Got it. I'm coming right now. Don't eat or drink anything. Don't take any medicine. Medicine? Why would he tell me not to take medicine? Then the door opened and a nurse came in. On a tray were a glass of water and 2 pills. Ma'am, take your medicine before dinner. What medicine is this? Blood pressure medication and a sleeping pill. You need to sleep well for tomorrow's examination. I didn't take the medicine. My blood pressure is normal, and I don't need sleeping pills. The nurse's expression hardened. The guardian specifically said you must take it. Guardians? My son? Yes, I was certain. Minwoo and Sujin were trying to make me unconscious. I won't take it. The nurse left without pressing further. But 30 minutes later, 2 other staff members came in. Ma'am, if you don't take the medicine, we're in trouble. I said no. One staff member grabbed my arm. The other pulled out a syringe. We'll give you a sedative injection. I struggled. Don't. I'm a perfectly healthy person. But they were strong. Just as they were about to inject me, I screamed with all my might. Help me. Someone help. The staff members panicked. They could hear voices of other residents' family members in the hallway. What's going on over there? The staff quickly hid the syringe and left. The door was locked again. I collapsed on the floor. My whole body was shaking. But I couldn't give up. I took out the backup phone and sent another text to Jiho. But the message wouldn't send. The battery had died. It was hopeless. But I went to the window. I stuck my hand between the bars and waved at people outside. Did anyone see my hand? That night, I didn't sleep. I was afraid they would come back. Around 4 in the morning, I heard footsteps in the hallway. Someone was coming. I tensed. What were they going to do this time? The door opened, but it wasn't a nurse who entered. It was Kang Hee-sol, a social worker. She was a colleague who used to work near my place. But what was she doing here? Ms. Song Eunha, are you okay? I asked in surprise. Hee-sol, what are you doing here? Attorney No Jiho contacted me. I work here part-time. I came to rescue you. Hee-sol had told me before that she moved from Jeju to Seoul to do social work. I didn't know she was working part-time at this care facility. Let's go quickly. We don't have time. Hee-sol helped me up and we went into a hallway. But there was a staff member guarding the entrance. Excuse me, where are you taking the resident? Hee-sol answered calmly. Just to the restroom. There's a restroom on the second floor. The resident wants to use the first floor restroom. The staff member looked at us suspiciously but didn't stop us. As we exited the entrance, a car was waiting. It was Jiho. Senior, get in. I got in the car, and Jiho immediately drove off. Behind us, the care facility staff came running out, but we were already far away. I cried in the back seat. Finally, I'd escaped. But I knew that Minwoo and Sujin wouldn't give up this easily. If they try to erase you completely, how will you fight back? The day after escaping the care facility, I was hiding in Jiho's office. Minwoo and Sujin would be looking for me. Jiho spread out documents and said, "Senior, look at this. This is material I got from the care facility." The document was labeled Special Guardian Instructions. Inside was this content. Resident Song Eunha, Guardian Han Minwoo. Special instructions: if signature is refused, administer sedative and contact guardian. Prepare for overseas transfer. Overseas transfer? What does that mean? Jiho explained, "Senior, they were planning to send you overseas, probably to Japan or Southeast Asia. They were going to have you declared missing there." I couldn't breathe. Missing? Yes. If you go missing overseas, after 7 years you can be declared dead. Then your assets would automatically be inherited. My whole body froze. Minwoo and Sujin weren't planning to kill me, but they were going to make me disappear and make it look like I was dead. Is there evidence? Jiho nodded. He saw secured some of the care facility's CCTV footage, and she photographed the Guardian Instructions memo. Kang Hee-sol came in. She held out a USB drive. "Ma'am, look at this." It's a recording of Sujin talking with the care facility director. When we plugged the USB into the computer, Sujin's voice played. "Director, the Japan cruise schedule is confirmed. Departure next Monday. We'll take Mother on the cruise, and when we disembark at Osaka port, we'll make her get lost on purpose. We'll report to the local police that a dementia patient went missing." The director's voice came through. "So we have no liability?" "Right. It's the cruise company's responsibility. We're the victims." Rage surged through me. I couldn't believe Sujin had planned this so meticulously. Jiho said, "Senior, we need to report this to the police now. Document forgery, special confinement, fraud, these are all criminal cases." I nodded. "Yes, let's report it." But at that moment, my phone rang. It was Minwoo. I didn't answer, but a text came through. "Mom, where are you? I'm so worried I'm going crazy. Please contact me." Jiho said, "Senior, they know you escaped. You need to be careful." Hee-sol added, "Ma'am, the care facility reported to the police that a resident left without permission. They said a dementia patient is wandering." I was incredulous. "But I don't have dementia." "I know, but they're trying to make you out to be a dementia patient. That way everything can be justified." I was furious. I'm a perfectly healthy person, and my son is trying to make me look crazy. "Jiho, I'm going to the police station myself. I'll show them I'm perfectly fine." Jiho shook his head. "Not yet. We need to secure more evidence, especially evidence of Sujin's cruise plan." Hee-sol said, "I might be able to access Sujin's phone records." The care facility director gave me Sujin's contact information. "How?" "I have a friend in IT. It's not exactly legal, but at least we can see what's there." Jiho said, "If it's illegal, we can't use it as evidence." "I know, but we need to know what's there." 2 days later, Hee-sol came back with results. "Ma'am, there's a strange chat room in Sujin's telegram. It's called Inheritance Plan." Hee-sol showed me screenshots. It was a conversation between Sujin and some dealer. "Dealer, I finished the forged power of attorney. Just give it to the Japanese real estate agent." Sujin, "How much?" Dealer, 5 million won. "Give me a bonus if it succeeds." Sujin, "Okay. I'll proceed as soon as I get Mother on the cruise to Japan." My hands trembled. Sujin was planning to conduct real estate transactions in Japan using my name. "What is this?" Jiho explained. They were probably planning to take out loans or conduct real estate transactions in Japan under your name. If you went missing in Japan, local police would be busy looking for a dementia patient, and meanwhile they'd embezzle your assets. I was astounded. They'd planned this so meticulously. "Jiho, let's go to the police now. This should be enough, right?" "Yes. We need to move now." We headed to the police station, but in front of the station, someone was waiting for us. It was Minwoo. "Mom." Minwoo came running, but Jiho blocked him. "Mr. Han Minwoo, step back." "Lawyer, where are you taking my mother?" "To the police station. We're filing a report." Minwoo's face turned white. "Mom, please. Let's talk. There's been a misunderstanding." I looked at Minwoo coldly. "A misunderstanding? You locked me in a care facility and tried to make me disappear overseas. That's a misunderstanding?" "Mom, it's not like that. Enough. You're not my son anymore." I walked past Minwoo and entered the police station. Finally, My counterattack had begun. The truth can never be hidden. In the police station interrogation room, I sat across from a detective. Song Eunha, will begin your statement. Please speak slowly. I explained everything from the beginning. How Minwoo and Sujin tried to deceive me, forcing guardianship consent, confinement in the care facility, and the plan to disappear me overseas. The detective nodded and recorded. Do you have any evidence? Jeju presented a USB drive and stack of documents. Here's the care facility CCTV, recordings, and Telegram chat screenshots. The detective reviewed the materials and his expression hardened. This is serious. Document forgery, special confinement, fraud. These are all criminally punishable. Can you start an investigation right away? Yes. We'll summon the relevant parties first. I breathed a sigh of relief. Finally, I could be protected by the law. But the detective added, Song, there's one problem. The Telegram conversation content was collected illegally, so we can't use it as legal evidence. Then what do? We need to proceed with other evidence. With the care facility CCTV and recordings, we can prove confinement charges. We can verify the forged documents through the notary office. The problem is the overseas disappearance plan. Since it wasn't executed yet, it's hard to prove. Jeju said, what about the cruise ticket reservation records? We'll need to verify that. If it was reserved under Song's name, then it's identity theft, which adds another charge. I asked, how do we verify the cruise reservation? We can request an inquiry from the cruise company. The detective immediately contacted the cruise company. The conversation played through the speaker. Yes, we have a confirmed reservation for customer Song Eunha. Next Monday departure, Japan cruise via Osaka. The booking person is Park Sujin, and the passenger is listed as Song Eunha. The detective asked, how did you verify identity? We received a copy of her ID. Could that be forged? Let me check. After a moment, the cruise company employee said, I've checked the ID copy, but we can't determine authenticity. You'll need to request forensic analysis from the police. The detective nodded. Understood. Please send us the materials. After the call ended, the detective said, Song, we'll summon Mr. Minwoo and Sujin for questioning. It might take a few days. Okay. Understood. I left the police station. Jeju and Heisal were with me. Ma'am, you're safe now. The police have started investigating, Heisal said. But I couldn't relax yet. I didn't know how Minwoo and Sujin would react. That night, an unfamiliar number called my phone. Hello? It was Sujin's voice. Mother, it's me. What is it? Mother, I was wrong. Please drop the charges. We're really going bankrupt. I answered coldly. That's for you to figure out. Mother, Minwoo is suffering so much right now. Please. Minwoo's suffering? You think I wasn't suffering? You locked me up and tried to make me disappear overseas. Wasn't that suffering? Sujin sobbed. Mother, we were really crazy. Because of debt, because of money, we weren't thinking straight. So you tried to kill me? We weren't trying to kill you. We just wanted to use some money while you were overseas for a while. That's the same as killing me. Mother, I hung up. I didn't need to hear more. The next day, the police station contacted me. Minwoo and Sujin had been summoned for questioning. Song, let me tell you the investigation results. Mr. Han Minwoo admitted to special confinement charges, and Park Sujin admitted to document forgery charges. So they'll be indicted? Yes. They'll be sent to the prosecutor's office. There will be a trial. My heart was heavy. My son was going to trial. It was sad, but unavoidable. The detective added, by the way, additional evidence came from Park Sujin's phone. There's evidence she contacted a dealer in advance to conduct real estate transactions in Japan after boarding the cruise. So the overseas disappearance plan is proven? Partially proven. But since it wasn't executed, the sentence will depend on the judge's decision. I nodded. Now the final decision would come in court. A week later, Kang Heisal brought additional evidence from the care facility. Ma'am, look at this. It's the care facility's internal guidelines. The guidelines contain this. Forced sedative administration possible upon guardian request. Family consent form required. Is there a family consent form? I asked. Yes, Mr. Minwoo signed it. I gritted my teeth. Minwoo signing it meant this was premeditated. Give this to the police. Heisal nodded. Yes. And ma'am, the care facility director will also be investigated for aiding illegal confinement. Finally, all the puzzle pieces were coming together. But it wasn't over yet. The most important moment remained. The courtroom. Justice ultimately prevails. A week later, police began tracking Sujin's movements. They'd received information that Sujin had made an appointment at a notary office the day before the cruise departure. Ms. Song, Sujin is going to the notary office tomorrow. We're conducting an on-site arrest. Would you like to accompany us? the detective asked. I nodded. Yes, I'll go. The next morning, I waited near the notary office with Jiho, Seoul, and the police. Around 10 o'clock, Soojin appeared. She was carrying a document bag, looking tense. Soojin entered the notary office. We waited about 5 minutes before following her in. Inside the notary office, Soojin sat in front of a notary, spreading out documents. This is a real estate power of attorney notarization. I'm conducting real estate transactions in Japan under Song Eunha's name. The notary asked, did you receive consent from the person? Yes. Here's the consent form. The consent form Soojin presented had my signature, but it was forged. That's when we entered. Wait a moment, Jiho shouted. Soojin turned around in shock. When she saw me, her face turned white. Mother? I walked slowly toward her. Soojin, what are you doing? This is... Police stepped forward. Ms. Park Soojin, you're under emergency arrest for document forgery and fraud. Soojin backed away, shouting, no. I didn't do anything. There are forged documents right here. You used Ms. Song's identity without consent, correct? Soojin couldn't say anything. Police confiscated Soojin's phone and document bag. Inside the bag were various forged documents in my name. Real estate power of attorney, loan consent forms, even a will. What is all this? I asked. The detective answered, all forged documents. Ms. Park Soojin prepared these to conduct various transactions under your name. I looked at Soojin. Soojin, were you really planning to go this far? Soojin hung her head and started crying. Mother, I'm sorry. We were really struggling. Does struggling make this okay? I don't know. I just thought if we had money, everything would be solved. I said nothing more. Soojin was taken away by police. Leaving the notary office, the detective said, Ms. Song, investigating Soojin's phone will reveal more evidence. We secured the Telegram chat room too. What about Minwoo? Mr. Han Minwoo will be arrested soon too. We're applying for an arrest warrant due to flight risk. That afternoon, I received word that Minwoo had also been arrested. He was caught at the airport trying to flee to Jeju. My feelings were complicated. My son had become a criminal. It was unbelievable, but it was reality. Jiho said, Senior, it's almost over. Just the trial left. What do I need to do at trial? You need to give a victim statement. You need to tell them how much you suffered, and how malicious their plan was. I nodded. I'll do it. I'll fight to the end. A few days later, the prosecutor's office contacted me. They'd found decisive evidence on Soojin's phone. Ms. Song, there was a chat room called Inheritance Plan in Ms. Park Soojin's telegram. It contains full discussions with the dealer about asset disposal plans after your disappearance. So the overseas disappearance plan is proven? Yes. It's definite now. Ms. Park Soojin will likely receive a heavy sentence. I breathed a sigh of relief. Finally, the truth was revealed. But at the same time, I felt sad. My son, my daughter-in-law had fallen this far. Seoul comforted me. Ma'am, you did nothing wrong. You were just trying to survive. Still, I wonder what I did wrong. No, you did nothing wrong. They're the ones who did wrong. Jiho added, Senior, now face them confidently in court. You need to show that you're winning. For other victims too. I nodded. I will. A week later, the first hearing was held. In the courtroom, Minwoo and Soojin sat side by side. Both looked haggard. The judge asked, Defendants, do you admit to the charges? Minwoo bowed his head. Yes, I admit it. Soojin also said tearfully, Yes, I'm sorry. The judge looked at me. Victim Ms. Song Eunha, would you like to make a statement? I stood up. Now it was my turn. Before truth, lies crumble. In the courtroom, I sat in the witness stand. The judge, prosecutor, lawyers, and people in the gallery were all looking at me. Minwoo and Soojin sat with their heads bowed. The judge asked, Victim Ms. Song Eunha, do you have anything to say to the defendants? I spoke slowly. Your Honor, I'm a 68-year-old retired pharmacist. I lived honestly my whole life, and ran a pharmacy for over 30 years to raise my one son. After losing my husband early and raising my son alone, no matter how hard it was, I endured. I just wanted my son to do well. I looked at Minwoo. Minwoo couldn't raise his head. But my son tried to steal the assets I worked so hard to accumulate. He tried to make me into a dementia patient, locked me in a care facility, and even tried to disappear me overseas. He tried to make me appear dead without killing me. There was a small stir in the gallery. Your Honor, I'm still perfectly fine. I take my blood pressure medication every morning, do all my housework myself, and walk on the Jeju beach every day. But my son tried to make me incompetent, because that's how he could freely use my assets. I took the recorder out of my bag. Your Honor, please listen to this. The recording played. Soojin's voice echoed through the courtroom. If we don't finish today, we'll miss the insurance deadline. If Mother refuses to sign, I told them to administer sedatives and contact us. Once we get her on the cruise to Japan, we can make her get lost at Osaka port. The gallery stirred. Even the judge's expression hardened. I continued, Your Honor, this is what my son and daughter-in-law did. They didn't do it out of love for me. They did it because they needed my money. The prosecutor stood up. Your Honor, the defendant's crime is highly premeditated and vicious. The victim is a 68-year-old elderly person, and the defendants exploited that mother-son relationship. This is a grave crime that betrayed family trust. Min Woo's lawyer countered, Your Honor, Defendant Han Min Woo was in economic difficulty due to business failure. This was an impulsive crime, and he caused no actual harm to the victim. I jumped up. No actual harm? I was locked in a care facility for 2 days and almost received sedative injections. I almost disappeared overseas. How is this not harm? The judge said, Victim, please calm down and continue your statement. I took a breath and said, Your Honor, I cannot forgive my son. Under the name of being my son, he locked me up and tried to steal my life. I'm no longer their mother. Min Woo raised his head and sobbed. Mom, I'm really sorry. I was so wrong. I looked at Min Woo coldly. Min Woo, does you being sorry change anything? During those 2 days you had me locked up, I felt like dying. Thinking I'd been abandoned by my son, I didn't want to live. Mom, you didn't see me as your mother. You saw me as a money source. The gallery went quiet. Everyone held their breath watching us. I said finally, Your Honor, please give them severe punishment, so this kind of crime never happens again. So there are no more victims like me. The judge nodded. I understand. Please call the next witness. The next witness was Kang Hee-sol. Hee-sol sat in the witness stand and testified calmly. I witnessed Ms. Song Eunha's case while working part-time at Ansem Care Facility. Defendant Park Soo-jin instructed the facility director to administer sedatives and contact us if the resident refuses to sign. She also requested CCTV deletion, but I had backed it up in advance. The prosecutor asked, What's on the CCTV? It shows defendant Han Min Woo locking Ms. Song Eunha in a room and locking the door. It also shows nurses preparing sedative injections. The gallery stirred again. Hee-sol continued testifying. Also, defendant Park Soo-jin requested the cruise company to board her without ID verification on the day since it's reserved under Song Eunha's name. This was a plan to take the victim overseas without her knowledge. The prosecutor asked additionally, why do you think the defendants tried to take the victim overseas? To have her declared missing. If she went missing overseas, domestic police would have difficulty investigating, and after 7 years, a death declaration would allow inheritance of assets. Min Woo's lawyer objected. Witness, isn't that speculation? Hee-sol answered, no. The keyword inheritance after 7 years appears multiple times in defendant Park Soo-jin's telegram chat room. It was a clear plan. The judge looked at the defendants. Defendants, do you have anything to say? Soo-jin stood up. Your Honor, I was just trying to pay my husband's debts. I had no other intentions. To pay debts, you tried to disappear a person overseas? It's not like that. We were really desperate. We were losing our house. The business failed. We weren't thinking straight. The judge said coldly, does that justify crime? Soo-jin couldn't say anything. Min Woo also stood up pleading, Your Honor, I really did wrong. I want to apologize to my mother. I shook my head. I won't forgive you. Mom, please. You're not my son anymore. The judge began reading the verdict. Defendant Han Min Woo, 2 years imprisonment with 3 years probation for special confinement. Defendant Park Soo-jin, 3 years imprisonment for document forgery and fraud. Also, pay 50 million won in compensation to the victim. Defendants are prohibited from approaching the victim for 3 years. Applause sounded from the gallery. I breathed a sigh of relief. Finally, it was over. Leaving the courtroom, Ji-ho said, Senior, you won. You won. Yes, Ji-ho. Thank you. Hee-sol also smiled and said, Ma'am, you really worked hard. I looked at the sky. It was clear. This was a new beginning. The final chapter of life. I write it myself. A month after the trial ended, I returned to Jeju. The Jeju beach, my beloved home. I found peace there again. But I didn't return to my old self. I had changed. I became stronger, wiser. Together with Ji-ho, I began organizing my assets. Senior, what are you going to do? Ji-ho asked. Ji-ho, I want to create a trust. A trust? Yes. An elderly abuse prevention trust. I want to put my assets in the trust, receive only monthly living expenses while I'm alive, and use the rest to help elderly abuse victims. Ji-ho said in surprise, Senior, that means you're donating most of your assets. Yes. I have enough to live on alone anyway. And I want to help victims like me. What about Min Woo? Not a penny. He already received enough from me. Now he needs to live on his own. Ji-ho sighed. Senior, you're amazing. To be able to do this. Ji-ho, I was a pharmacist for 30 years. Helping people was my job. Now I want to help in a different way. We established the Song Eunha Elderly Abuse Prevention Trust. Out of my 3 billion won assets, I put 2.5 billion into the trust, leaving 500 million for my living expenses. The trust's practical director was Kang Hee-sol. Ma'am, are you sure? If you entrust me with such a big responsibility, can I do well? Hee-sol worried. I smiled and said, Hee-sol, you saved me. If it weren't for you, I'd still be locked in that care facility. If it's you, you can definitely do it. Hee-sol's eyes welled up as she nodded. Thank you, ma'am. I'll work hard. The trust began providing legal support, shelter, and psychological counseling to elderly abuse victims. In the first month alone, 10 victims received help. One day, an elderly woman came to the trust office. I was victimized by my child like Ms. Song Eunha. Please help me. I hugged that grandmother and said, it's okay. You're safe now. We'll help you. The grandmother said tearfully, Ma'am, how do you live so strongly? I was so weak. Even when my child victimized me, I couldn't say anything. I answered quietly, I was weak at first too. But trying to survive made me strong. You can do it too. After that day, dozens of victims came to the trust every month. They were all people abused by their children, just like me. I told them, everyone, we're not weak. We survived. And now we're going to fight. A year passed. The trust helped over 100 victims, and several won in court. One day, a letter came from Minwoo. Mom, I'm really sorry. I was so wrong. I miss you. I read the letter and quietly tore it up. Minwoo was no longer in my life. Instead, I had dinner with Hee-sol and Jiho. We weren't family, but we were closer than family. Ma'am, 3 new consultations came in today. All child abuse cases. Hee-sol reported. Really? I'll meet them personally tomorrow. Jiho smiled and said, Senior, you've become a complete activist. Jiho, I was a pharmacist. Saving lives was my job. Still is. We laughed together. That night, I walked on the Jeju beach. I heard the sound of waves, and the wind was cool. I looked at the sky and muttered to myself. I am Song Eunha, 68 years old, retired pharmacist, and a survivor. I smiled. I live under my own name. That was my new life. Family can exist even without blood ties. Love comes not from blood relations, but from trust. I learned that, and I was happy. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe, hit that like button, and drop a comment below with your thoughts. Your support means the world to me.